to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab, and I am here with my cousin and co-host,
Dylan.
And today we are finally back on track. It is just me and Dylan, and we are talking about a movie that I have nominated as one to watch before you die. But before we get into it, Dylan, tell the people why.
Tell the people why what?
Why they're here. Why they've opened their ear holes to you and I.
Presumably, you have accidentally clicked on a link. You do have a virus now. You will need to call a call center. No, you're listening to us because we've been doing this for 60 some odd episodes by this point, because we love movies just like you do, because we happen to also have some experience in the industry, both having our degrees in this and both doing a smidgen of work in the subjects, but mostly because you like movies like we like movies and you want to hear us talk about this movie. So, Gab, what movie are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about, I don't remember what year it is. I'm going to make a guess though, and you're going to tell me if I'm right. My guess is 2004.
You're so close, Gab. 2003.
Ah, damn it. All right, 2003's remake of a Jodie Foster movie starring Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, and that is Freaky Friday.
Yes, we are talking about Freaky Friday. And you know what? It's one I feel like I saw as a kid, but I don't remember if I saw it in theaters or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, honestly. I know I had the DVD, and I'll tell you, and I know you had a similar experience watching with Giselle, but Corey and I watched it together last night, and when the songs came on, we both just like intrinsically knew the words. Like, it was so crazy. And neither one of us remember, like, we know we both had it on DVD. We know we both had the soundtrack. We don't know if we saw it in the movies, but every word to every song we just knew.
I was the only one I feel like that did not remember all the words. But once I heard that the song that's in the movie, not the credits song, I was like, I definitely remember this. And I was also like, wow, this song slaps pretty hard.
Yes, it does. Don't want to grow up. I want to get out. Hey, take me
I like
away.
that one a lot better than the one where Lindsay Lohan is doing the actual singing.
Ew, yeah. So actually, the girl who does the singing in the like actual band song,
Mhm.
Christina Vidal, do you remember the TV show on Nickelodeon, short-lived TV show Taina?
I don't, but I happened to be talking about it with Giselle yesterday, who did remember it.
Yep, I fucking loved Taina.
I don't think I
Loved
had
it.
ever watched it. And Giselle was just like, wow, it was so nice to have a show that had some representation at the time. And I'm like, it's a shame that it only lasted for like 26 episodes. I looked it up, but I was like, that is cool though.
Yeah, it really was very short-lived, but it was so good. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Hannah Montana before Hannah Montana. You know what I mean?
Freaky Friday did?
No, no, no.
Oh, Taina.
Taina. Yeah.
Why? Is Taina about her being a musician?
Well, Taina is about her like, oh god, and you got to remember, like, you're asking me for 20. Can I remember a TV show that had 26 episodes 20 years ago?
Yeah,
But
you
here
were
I
like
go.
9 or 10 years old at the time, but go on.
Yeah, but I think she was like, she wanted to be a singer or an actress, or she was like in the drama club at school or something. But I ate it the fuck up. I loved it. But like, I know the theme song was, "I know someday I'm gonna be a star," and it was like her
Okay, so
just like
IMDb
wanting to be famous. Yeah,
IMDb
yeah.
about Taina. 15-year-old Taina Morales dreams of being a singer and actor and must juggle family values and friends while attending the Manhattan School for the Performing Arts. So I
Yes.
totally see why you could be like, this was proto Hannah Montana esque.
Yeah, it was also like, I don't know if you've ever watched Victorious.
No, I know of it, but I never watched it.
Okay. Ariana Grande's like TV show on Nickelodeon with Victoria Justice, but that TV show was about a bunch of kids at a performing arts school, and I think Taina was like the first to do it, and that was actually also Nickelodeon. So Hannah Montana is Disney, but Nickelodeon kind of took, I think, their own TV show and just made it a little bit broader and about a group of kids with a focus on one girl versus like literally just being about one girl.
Hmm. You know what Disney
Yeah.
show I thought was like, I was definitely too old for this show, but I watched it with my niece and nephew and I thought it was
Wait,
great.
I know what it is, and I'm going to tell you I also fucking love it.
Oh, I
We're
feel
going to
like you're
say it
not going to
together
know
on
what it
three.
is.
Yes, I am. We're going to say it together on three. One, two, three.
Dog
Phineas
with a
and
blog.
Ferb.
I told you. I fucking told you.
Oh, what the hell is the what? What?
I was watching, I was like babysitting my niece and nephew, and they were into like bubble guppies at the time, so they're young.
Yeah.
And then like Dog with a Blog comes on, and I put this on, and it's adorable. The dog is typing at the computer, Gab. It's the cutest fucking thing I've ever
Oh,
seen. And they,
what is he blogging about?
what do you think he's blogging about? Politics? No, he's blogging about his everyday life. He's a dog.
So he's blogging about like fire hydrants, or is he blogging about like having a crush on the poodle next door?
He's blogging about his family. That's what he's blogging about. But
Okay.
they have like fake paws that they're clearly using to press on a keyboard, and it's
Oh.
adorable. And I just remember being like, "Oh, look at this!" And they were like, "Yeah, don't care." I may as well have had C-SPAN on. Yeah.
And you're watching it with the same intent that you'd be watching C-SPAN. Did you ever watch Phineas and Ferb?
I've seen like occasional clips, but I've never actually watched it.
Dylan, I have to tell you, stop what you're doing right now and go watch Phineas and Ferb. It is truly a gift. It is the greatest children's cartoon, adult cartoon. Like, I would say Phineas and Ferb is second only to The Simpsons. Like, I would put Phineas and Ferb above Family Guy.
Interesting. I have no basis for comparison of the two, but I feel like it was the next SpongeBob in terms of like major kids popularity show.
Yes, but it was so much smarter than SpongeBob. And every episode had like 2 songs, and the songs were so good. And the material was so funny, but it was also like very wholesome. There were so many subplots. It was like a Seinfeld episode. It was just so brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. Phineas and Ferb. I think they brought it back. I would get a Phineas and Ferb tattoo on my ass today.
Okay, I do actually need people to comment on this episode and tell me, is Phineas and Ferb all this great that she just compared to like Seinfeld and The Simpsons? Is Phineas and Ferb like this S tier type show that I should be watching?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see if anybody tells me next week what's up.
All right.
Gab, is it time to get into what this movie's about?
I think it's been time to get into what this movie's about, so let's do it.
What's this all been about? What am I working toward?
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to.
Yeah, we were ducking it for talk of Phineas and Ferb and other random things that we discussed, but Freaky Friday is about Anna and Tess, who basically obviously are not seeing eye to eye, and
their mother-daughter
through body swap, they get to walk a mile in each other's shoes, somewhat literally, and they get to deal with the subplot of Anna having this boy she has a crush on, Jake, while Tess is about to get married the next day to Ryan. And that night they have the rehearsal dinner, which I think I'll talk more about that in a second. And at the same time, Anna has her honors qualifying test. And I do think I'm going to leave it out of my plot summary, but we'll have to talk more about how they switch bodies.
Yeah.
So let's see how that compares to what IMDb said about the plot.
I'll tell you, it doesn't compare. It was bad.
What do you mean?
It was just long-winded. Like, you didn't summarize.
I gave the gist. That was the gist.
Yeah, but the plot summary is a 1-sentence little elevator pitch. You gave you sounded like Corey over here.
God. Oh my God, the slander of your own boyfriend. Okay, I can do it. All right.
I love you, Corey. Also, he doesn't have AirPods right now, so he probably won't hear this. Although by the time this episode comes out, he will. So sorry, Corey. Love you.
Oh my God, I love that you like. I can sneak it past him. Fuck him.
He's never gonna listen to this.
The IMDb plot summary of Freaky Friday: an overworked mother and her daughter did not get along. When they switch bodies, each is forced to adapt the other's life for one Freaky Friday. Do you want to hear the taglines?
I guess.
All right. I'll give you the worst one first. Get your freak on August 1st.
Oh, get out of here with that garbage.
That's clearly like just for the poster that they're like, remember what day it is.
Yeah.
Every teenager's nightmare turning into her mother.
Oh God, it really is. But isn't it crazy how we just become our parents no matter what?
Don't say that. I don't want to believe that.
Well, you've probably done enough therapy, but I'm definitely my mother. I'm becoming my mother more and more every day. I hate it.
Yeah, I definitely realize there are times when I'm acting like either of my parents and I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Yeah.
It's crazy. I remember making fun of my mom for shit, and now I'm so, like, I remember making fun of my mom for like not having like not like going out with her friends and socializing. And she was just always like, I worked all day. I'm exhausted. All I want to do is sit on the couch. And now I'm like, oh my God, I get it. I also don't want to socialize. I only want to sit on the couch.
Yeah, once you reach a certain age, you're like, it's a real luxury if I'm gonna go out and see people. That's a rarity. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even just like I've been saying to Corey lately, like, I just want to have stability. Like I want to have financial stability. I want to like have health insurance. I want to, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, God, what happened to the young me that was like, I want to be passionate. I want to like have adventure. And now I'm like, fuck adventure. Give me the salary.
I'm too tired for adventures.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. All right. Anyway.
I think that was a pretty good tagline though.
Okay. You do?
Yeah, every teenager's nightmare turning into her mother. I think that totally makes sense for what the movie is, no?
Yeah, I guess.
They've always been in each other's faces. Today, they're in each other's bodies.
I just hate taglines.
I feel like that one only works if it's like, you need that funny family film trailer guy voice where he's like, they've always been in each other's faces, but today they're in each other's bodies.
No, I don't think. First of all, I've never heard a tagline voice or a movie trailer voice like that.
First of all, you have totally heard the movie trailer guy who does like kids movie trailers. He's like, this summer coming to a theater near you. Recess, school's out. Like you've heard that shit.
Nope.
Yes.
Haven't. Nope.
Phineas and Ferb, the big summer movie. Yes, it's definitely happened.
Perhaps. By the way, Phineas and Ferb has 2 movies. They're both great.
Fantastic. Good to know. The last tagline. Mondays are manic, Wednesdays are wild, and Fridays are about to get a little freaky.
I hate it.
Yeah, I don't like that one either.
Hate it.
All right. We've gotten past that. Gab, should we just go into our opinions now? Do you want to give a further description about what this movie's about? Do you feel like it needs it?
No, it doesn't need it.
In this critic's opinion,
that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, I have a right to my opinion, and my opinion is you have no right to your opinion.
Gab, let's get the important opinion out of the way about the body swap and how it happens.
Okay.
Do you want to say it or should I?
No, you can say it.
Well, Anna refers to, so they are at a Chinese restaurant and there's just like nothing okay about this. I don't feel good describing it. They're fighting in front of, I guess, the owners of the Chinese restaurant, and the owner's mother decides to give them fortune cookies that when they open the fortune cookies, they have the same fortune and they read it and it causes them to swap the next day. So I believe that she says something in Chinese, which also might have to do with how it happens, because we're not told what she's saying. And then they just like interrupt her. But the next morning they're like, yeah, she was doing some strange yelling in Chinese. And I believe it's Anna or Tess in Anna's body that says she must have performed some strange Asian voodoo. Which is not a cool term to be throwing around like that's a thing.
I mean, back in 2003, it was fine.
In 2003, we were all fine with it.
We didn't care.
That's the only thing that I watched now that I was like, ooh. And every time they go back to those characters, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, there's a lot of like very stereotypical like Asian behavior and like gesturing. But I will say both of those women appeared to be Chinese, like truly Chinese, which is good.
That's a low bar you've set for the movie, Kat.
I know.
Okay.
But it's not like Emma Stone playing a Chinese woman or Mickey Rooney. You know what I mean?
Yes, but you're like, at least they made Chinese people do the stereotypes themselves.
Yeah, I suppose.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that didn't.
Now, let me ask you a question. Do you feel that way about Mrs. Kwan and the Cat in the Hat?
I don't really, but I also just don't think that's an important enough character. Whereas I feel like these characters were more important to the story.
Yeah, because I always say, these are not children. These little angels. And I'm like, wow, am I going directly to hell for that?
It's for other things. That might be on the list, but it's for other things.
Yeah, for sure. That's not a make or break. Interesting. Yeah. Because okay, so in that vein, I will say this. This is a huge opinion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is another movie, probably there are three, I would say, three movies that my friend Nikki and I, from the time we were in middle school all the way to present day, quote relentlessly. There's The Cat in the Hat, there's Mean Girls, and there's Freaky Friday. And so I knew lines that were coming, and I like said it along with the movie as we watched it. And one of them is, "How about I do?" When she's the Chinese lady is talking about doing the catering for the rehearsal or for the wedding. Yeah. "How about I do?" We say we would just say that to each other all the time. Like Nikki would be like, you wanna go to the mall?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." And she'd be like, whose car?" And I'd be like, "How about I do?" You know what I mean? Like it just would like come up.
Huh, okay. I mean, I was gonna say like that's such a ridiculous quote, and then I'm like, well, like I said, me and Zach would quote, "Don't do it, Dr. Benedict." You know what I mean? Sometimes you just, random things stick in your mind. Because there were some quotes that I saw in this movie that I was like, oh, those are good. That was definitely not one of the ones I wrote down.
Yeah.
I will say, it's probably like the last big thing I have to say about Strange Asian Voodoo, etc.
Mm-hmm.
There was a part of me that was like, you really don't even need that explanation at all. And then I said to myself, well, the fortune cookie is important because it gives them that goal of like, this is how we get back into our bodies, you know? And I do think it's important in that sense. I there's got to be a better way they could have done it, but it was a very 2003 way of doing it, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. Also, you've got to keep in mind it's a kids movie, so they're going for simple, you know. And I think that's what this movie does really well, is that it's just very simple.
Yes, and with that said, I think we can move past Strange Asian Voodoo and all mention of it, into the rest of the movie, which I think does hold up very well.
I agree. I totally agree. And I was actually pretty surprised at how well it held up. Some of my favorite moments include when the kid he's doing a pop quiz. The English teacher is doing a pop quiz about Hamlet, and he asks one of the boys, describe Hamlet. And the kid has obviously not read the book, and he's like, well, Hamlet is a guy. He's one of the bigger characters. I mean, he's Hamlet, and he's just bopping around, doesn't know which way's up. I don't think the guy's got a clue. And he's like, yes, absolutely, A+.
Well, he gave him a B.
Whatever, he gave him a B. But he was like, I think what you mean to say is Hamlet is a man who couldn't make up his and the kid's like,
he fully has to give it to him.
Yes. Yeah, it's so good. And then Tess in Anna's body is asked, what are the main conflicts of Hamlet? And she says, you know, she gives three, and she says like Oedipal, political, and familial, and gives this whole like long answer. And he says like she over explained it or something and gives her an F. And it's just like so good. And then she comes to realize that he asked her mother to the prom, and she said no, and then he's taking it out on her daughter, and it's just great.
He hits her with like a J.K. Simmons and Whiplash style, you're reaching.
Yes.
If he could have, he would have thrown a chair at her.
Yeah. My tempo.
I will say I really like that actor. He's like the character actor. He shows up all the time in like that big of a role. His name is Steven Diblowski.
What else has he been in?
Well, first of all, he's in a great Law and Order SVU. I've seen so much of it religiously, Gav. He's wrongly accused, and he ends up driving his car into an 18-wheeler, and there's a massive explosion.
Oh shit.
Yeah, good stuff. But if you look him up on IMDb, he's got to have at least 200 credits. You know what I mean?
Wow, yeah.
I will say, I really like all the characters have very obvious things that they want and obvious complications. You know what I mean? It's all very structurally sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of My Cousin Vinny, and when he's talking about, you know, you're building this house, and the defense attorney wants to show you, the prosecutor wants to show you that it's made of bricks, and if you turn it to the side, it's a house of cards. But this is straight up bricks. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're simple bricks. There's nothing very special here. It's not like reinventing the wheel, but it all works.
Yep. Yeah. And I think there's really good humor. Like there are very silly reoccurring gags where people are like plowing into one another. There are a lot of really funny like the phone is ringing over and over and over. Like there's just a lot of classic good jokes that land. One of my favorites is Jamie Lee Curtis on the phone with a client. She's a therapist and she has a lot of very needy clients. And she's on the phone and she's talking to a client, but she's looking at the lady at the deli counter in the grocery store. And she says, and don't forget, oh no, and remember, you are a smart, strong, beautiful, independent woman, and you do not need a man to complete you. And the lady behind the deli counter starts crying and going, thank you. And it's so good. And that's a line I say all the time too.
I will say, and tell me if you agree with this, I do think Jamie Lee Curtis does a little bit better of a job playing young and playing Lindsay Lohan than Lindsay Lohan does playing old and playing Jamie Lee Curtis.
Well, yes, but I don't think it's a performance issue. I think it's just that Jamie Lee Curtis had the more fun role. Like she had the memorable moments. She had the more like fantastical character where Lindsay Lohan was sort of playing like the straight man. And I think she does a really good job. I just think the performance is not, it doesn't lend itself to being as exciting.
I also had a very clear mix-up of an actor because Anna has a bully, Stacy, who I was very certain. I was like, oh, isn't that the bully or mean girl from Lizzie McGuire? And Giselle was like, no.
Oh, you thought it was Kate.
Yes. And Giselle said, no, she's the bad guy from A Cinderella Story. And I was like, how did I not remember that, considering I've seen that once with you? But okay.
That's funny. Yeah. I actually thought that she was one of the mean girls from the Princess Diaries.
I don't remember any mean girls well enough in the Princess Diaries.
Well, one of them was Mandy Moore.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then she had like minions. By the way, Princess Diaries, movie to watch before you die, certainly.
I think I'd have to watch it again to feel strongly about that. I can't say that for certain right now.
Well, I'll add it to my list.
Don't put me on the spot like that, homie.
Oh, another question. Best in Show, the guy that was the ex-boyfriend of Cookie that was making out with her at his house, who I said was the guy from The Office, and you said no.
Yes.
He is from the Princess Diaries.
Larry Miller. Yes. Isn't he the principal?
No, the principal is Sandra Oh.
Sandra Oh. Who's he in it?
He's the hairstylist, the makeup artist or whatever. Because I said to Corey, we were going to this wedding that I was in last weekend, and I was putting on makeup, which I never do because I'm always sweaty. And I put on a full face of makeup, and I said, have you ever seen the Princess Diaries? And he said, no. And I said, well, there's a scene where she gets a makeover, and they're holding 2 photos of her before, and he goes, Your Royal Highness, Paolo, he slaved, he worked, he da-da-da, and I take this, and I give you a princess. And I was like, that's me coming out with makeup on.
And did Corey appreciate it after the 5-minute explanation of the reference?
No, he was just like, oh, you look pretty. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Don't worry, he'll never hear this. He doesn't have AirPods right now.
It's true, thank God. Yeah, it was an underwhelming response after, like, I even didn't say it to him looking at him. I like stood in the hallway and he could only hear me. And I was like, I take this and give you. And then I walked in, a princess. And he was like, oh, wow, you look pretty.
Can we talk about 2 things in this movie that they make a big deal out of that are really not that big a deal?
Absolutely.
Anna's honors qualifying test, which I'm sure if she had missed school that day would have been able to take on the Monday.
Yeah.
And the other is the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
I don't think the rehearsal dinner it's funny. They call it the rehearsal dinner. There's no actual rehearsing of any kind. You're not going out there with a script of like, and now you say line, I do. The lines, I do. Like,
yeah.
No, it's not that complex. You're just all having dinner the night before.
Well, hold up now. I have 2 things to say about this. Number 1, in modern day, you're right. Because typically, like, people get married at places that do weddings every single day. And they're like, all right, you're going to stand here. You're going to stand here. The officiant's going to say this. You say, I do. You sit here. You sit there. You walk out this way. Done. And they do it within like 4 minutes. And everybody's seen a million weddings. Most people have been in multiple weddings. They know what to do. It's the same shit every time. However, back in the day, and especially people that get married at churches, they actually do have a rehearsal the night before, because typically the church is like booked right before the wedding. So like mass will get out and people will like be boom, it's wedding time. So they used to actually have full-blown rehearsals. Like my parents' wedding, which I was at, and so were you. I don't know why I said just me. You were there too. I actually remember my parents' rehearsal dinner. We were like 5, but they had a real rehearsal, and you were the ring bearer and I was the flower girl, and we had to like practice walking down the aisle, and they didn't get married at a church.
Yeah, I just feel like it's not like we even see them do that, but it's definitely one of those things that they make a bigger deal of than needs to be made of. No?
Yeah, but I also could understand the mom being like, this is the one thing I've asked you for. You can't go and hang out with your friends this day. Like if it were my family and my mom was having like even like a dinner to celebrate like an award she got, and I was like explaining that there was something that was really important to me, but to her it didn't seem like a big deal, she'd be like, you don't just get to hang out with your friends every day. Like, this is important to me. Be there.
I think that's a totally valid explanation, but I think it's so obvious and makes so much sense when by the end, first of all, the thing is a half a block away.
Yeah.
Like you could throw a baseball to the concert venue from the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
And so it makes total sense when she's like, we just need Anne for 15 minutes. And the stepdad's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Again, it was one of those things that it felt like, why is this a big deal? And then by the time they get to it, for everyone else, they're perfectly accepting of, oh, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. But I do think that like there's a level of it's a big deal because I'm mad at you for 10 other things. Like I've done that in my relationship where like sorry, something may not be a big deal, but like if a million things have like, if that's the straw that breaks the camel's back, then like, yeah, it is a big deal.
It's also a big deal because at that point in the story, they're not understanding the level of importance for each other's events in their lives. And
yeah,
I think that's obviously the important thing by the end, that they understand each other better. That's why it's so important to her when Anna makes the speech at the rehearsal dinner versus when Tess tells her at the audition that their music isn't noise. Like it all comes together very nicely. It wraps up in a tight bow. I just think it's like from the beginning, when you find out like the massive deal of the honors qualifying test and rehearsal dinner, you're like, okay, it works as, you know, when we're seeing this movie and you and I are 11 years old at the time, to us, those sound like big deal.
Yeah. I also think there's a level of like, if you're experiencing something that's that traumatic, you're not like thinking straight. Like the solution isn't, oh, I'll just skip school and make it up on Monday. And the solution isn't, oh, it's fine, it's just a rehearsal, like you'll be gone for 20 minutes. It just feels like a big deal. But also don't forget, these two events, like they don't go hand in hand. The rehearsal dinner is separate because that comes up before they switch bodies. Once they've switched bodies, the issue is that not only does Anna have that exam, but Tess has those needy clients that are going to fucking kill themselves if she's not there.
Yes. Which I do think Giselle, as, you know, my personal therapist expert, was over here going, the confidentiality, you can't be letting her see these clients. I did really like Willie Garson as her client Evan, because he had one of the first lines that like really made me laugh is him going, this morning was good, then I got up.
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
I feel like I want to use that.
It's so good. I also love when he says are you counting the minutes? And she goes, no. And he goes, how many minutes are left? And she goes, 54.
You know what was a laugh out loud thing for me too?
What?
When, first of all, the little brother is great. He gets some like very good moments. When he has the underwear on his head and Jamie Lee Curtis is picking him up by the underwear on his head, and he's just like, you
dangling.
can see her lifting him off the ground by the underwear on his head.
Yep, little feet kicking. And it's the sound he makes where he's silent and then she picks him up and he goes, ah! And then puts him down. He's silent and picks him up. Ah! It's good.
We also need to talk about, nobody's coming out of this movie more fucked up than poor Jake. Poor Jake spends, in one day, he goes between, I'm in love with this woman in her 40s. No, I'm in love with her daughter. No, I'm in love with her and her daughter. Like, he is so messed up.
Corey kept being like, he's so thirsty. He's showing up at this. He's crashing the wedding. He's at the concert. He's at their house. It's like he's at the rehearsal dinner. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, by the time he shows up at the wedding at the very end, I feel like you've just accepted it. But I actively said to Giselle, I went, he definitely was not invited to this wedding. Like, he was just like, I'm crashing this thing. You mentioned you're getting married, and I'm coming to get one of you women.
And imagine being Ryan, who already saw Tess on the back of his motorcycle, and now he shows up at the wedding like he recognizes that guy. I'd be like, what the fuck is this guy doing here?
Do you think Ryan recognizes him? Because I think, was he wearing a helmet?
Yeah, he was. I mean, he may not, but you know what I mean.
But I do like that is one moment for Ryan to be like, what are you doing on the back of some guy's bike? Because that's weird.
Yeah, like, is there something you need to tell me? I do think there are two things that I think about the relationships in this movie. Number one, I think it is batshit crazy that after all of the events that unfolded with Jake and being in love with the mom and then in love with Anna and then in love with the mom and then Anna, that at the end he just like is like, let's just start a new slate. Like, what?
Oh, I think it makes total sense because he is he needs to start over. Otherwise, his brain cannot handle it and will collapse.
I mean, I guess. I just feel like every time I brought him home to my house, I'd be like, are you like sizing up my mom? Like, the fuck?
I also think there is something, I guess if you want to call it like sweet, that he does love Anna no matter which body she's in.
Sure. Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
But it definitely feels like somebody should be like, what's the deal with these two in this coffee shop? Why is this older woman getting so close to this 17-year-old?
Also, he works at the high school. So something tells me he's over the age of 18.
No, because he's still a student also.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. I thought
I think it was just like he has an
TA.
after-school job helping out.
Oh, I understand. Okay. And then the second questionable relationship, I think, was with Ryan. Like, if you're about to marry someone and they start acting that crazy, do you just like go through with it?
Well, first of all, I think you would hope by the fact that things are like normal the next day, you would hope that like maybe she's just super nervous. But Ryan is very chill about everything because if all of a sudden I woke up and Giselle wouldn't kiss me anymore, I'd be like, what did I do? Why won't you come near me?
Honestly, it's like that's like so offensive.
Yeah, it's a little uncool. And Ryan very much takes everything in stride. There's also the comment that Anna makes in Tessa's body where she's like, and isn't it great that I was happy to get remarried so shortly after my husband died? And Ryan just never brings that shit up. Ryan's never like, are you okay? Do you need more time?
Do we need to talk about this? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get a little emotional at the end when Tess in Anna's body was like, you need to tell Ryan that you have to postpone the wedding.
That's definitely like Lindsay Lohan's best little moment when she's pretending to be Tess saying like to let him down gently, and she does get emotional and you feel it.
Yeah, it's so good. I really think her performance is great. I just think she has the less memorable role.
I think they're both good. I just think Jamie Lee Curtis is slightly better. But maybe it is just that she has the better character.
Jamie Lee Curtis is also like a seasoned vet and Lindsay Lohan is a kid.
True. Lindsay Lohan, where does this rank on her performances? Because this is right in the Lindsay Lohan prime.
The fucking era, honestly. She was a god among men.
She was in for a bit.
I think we could all agree that she has two performances that are the apex mountain for her. And that is
Mean Girls is one.
Correct. And now think like total opposite end of the spectrum.
Like bad?
No. Like really good, but very far away.
Georgia Rule.
Great movie. I do think she deserved an Oscar for that. However, The Parent Trap.
Oh, okay. You know what? I haven't watched The Parent Trap since probably when I first saw it.
Wow. Let me tell you. First of all, I'm adding it to my list. Second of all, to be a fucking little kid playing two roles, two different characters with different accents that have to play together. She's phenomenal. Like you can just tell she's a superstar. It's unbelievable. And those are, I think, her peaks. I think Freaky Friday is the peak of her popularity. I don't think it is the peak of her performance.
No, I think Mean Girls is the peak of her popularity. But I think if those are her So her top two, you're saying, are Mean Girls and Parent Trap.
Yes.
Would you put Freaky Friday as the third? Does it make the podium?
Um, does it make the podium? Ah. Hold on. I gotta pull out the big guns here. I can't be making a comment like this out of
Because I know what I
from
think her
memory.
worst performance is.
Oh, well, I mean, that's not necessarily hard to say. What do you think it is?
I Know Who Killed Me.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's not her fault. Like, she was unwell.
Yes, but I barely made it through that movie. I it's rare that I regret watching a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't good. I only saw it once, and it was really just for shits and gigs. Yeah, I'm looking, you gotta give it to her. She hasn't been in a ton. Like, I'm gonna read you her big roles, okay? And this is listed by Google in this order, so you might be right. It goes Mean Girls first, The Parent Trap second. Oh, thank you. Freaky Friday third, and then Falling for Christmas. Haven't seen it. It's from last year. Herbie Fully Loaded. Not interested. Just My Luck. Saw it once. Didn't really care either way. Georgia Rule. Phenomenal film. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Excellent movie. I know it's bad. Like, I understand it's a bad movie, but I loved it as a kid.
It was just funny the way you went, excellent movie. I know it's bad.
Excellent movie. Terrible movie, but excellent. The Canyons, which I saw once, and I think, again, it was not super far away from, it was a couple years past I Know Who Killed Me, but not good. Scary Movie 5, Machete, Life Size. You remember Life Size?
Isn't that Tyra Banks?
Yeah, 2000. Lindsay Lohan was the girl with the doll that came real. Get a Clue, I Know Who Killed Me, Labor Pains, Irish Wish,
Are
Liz
you just
and
naming
Dick.
everything she's done?
Yeah, because I'm almost done. Life Size 2, Among the Shadows, and A Prairie Home Companion, Love Marilyn.
Wait, she was in Georgia Rule and A Prairie Home Companion? Isn't that the movie I mixed up with Georgia Rule?
Yeah, it is, actually. Wow.
Okay, it makes sense now.
That's
it's all
crazy.
coming together.
Yeah. Yeah, she hasn't really done a lot considering what a big star she is. So yeah, I think Freaky Friday is probably on the podium. But just due to lack of competition.
Yeah, I don't think that this does make the podium for Jamie Lee Curtis. You know what I mean?
Well, again, Jamie Lee Curtis is a veteran.
Yeah, she's worked a lot more.
What's her podium? Quick.
Halloween. True Lies. No.
Whoa.
What? I like True Lies.
Okay, but I'm not asking you what you like. I'm asking you what her best work is.
Halloween. Halloween also encompasses, like, that's 10 different movies of hers, but Trading Places and 20 Activia commercials.
That was good.
I do feel like I should be able to name more Jamie Lee Curtis things off the top of my head, but I can't. I'm blanking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really, when I think of Jamie Lee Curtis, I think of Freaky Friday.
But enough about Jamie Lee Curtis. What else do we have to get to with this movie? Oh, did you spot Dina Lohan at the wedding?
No, I didn't.
Dina Lohan is one of the guests at the wedding, and she can clearly be seen while Jake and Anna are having their talk at the very, very end. There's one moment where she's just staring at the camera as she's dancing in the background.
Have I told you about when I met Dina Lohan?
No.
So let me preface this by saying that in college, I was a massive Lindsay Lohan fan, to the point where my computer wallpaper was Lindsay Lohan, my cell phone wallpaper was Lindsay Lohan. I had magazine cutouts of her, like, lining my wall. I loved her. And so when she was on SNL, my college roommate and I waited outside for her because I wanted to meet her. And we did not meet her, but we did meet Dina Lohan, who came outside drunk as fuck, like red wine all over her mouth and her lips, her tongue, everything, leaned into me. I have a picture and I will pull it up and send it to you. Leaned into me and goes, "Are you here with TMZ?" And I was like, no, I'm not here with TMZ. And she
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
okay, good. I swear to Christ, they can't make that shit up.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Damn, I don't got much on that. That's sad.
Well, they're from Long Island too.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? I forget about that.
Yeah, Belmore?
Is it really?
I think so. Let me look. Hold on. I
You-
always get this wrong.
You Google that right now while I mention this thing. One more
Okay.
weird thing about the relationships in this movie. That Ryan thinks it's an okay surprise to be like, you are going to be on TV now.
Oh my God, I know. That's not good.
He has her eyes shut until she is looking at the set of the television show. That's not cool, homie. That's not the way to do this.
Merrick and Cold Spring Harbor.
Huh. Lindsay Lohan was like 15 minutes away from us at one point.
It's true. Long Island girl. Yeah. I loved her, and that was fucked up of him to do. And
I do actually remember Gab's bedroom growing up having not only Lindsay Lohan, but also, and I'm gonna call you out on it, Ashley Simpson.
oh yeah, I loved her too. But
You loved
honestly,
Ashley Simpson.
but again, who didn't back then? Like in that tiny little blip in time, she was an icon to young girls. I was probably not even a teenager.
You're right, I guess. Only because you preface it as to young girls. Because before you said
Yeah.
that, who didn't? I was gonna go, most people.
Yeah, no. But to teenage girls, I mean, I went to school. I went to Sagamore Middle School in 2004 wearing a black, I don't know what you would call the material, kind of like what yoga pants are made of, like not spandex, but something like that, like a black, like a two-tiered skirt. In 2004, look it up, youngins. We wore skirts that had like two tiers over a pair of jeans because Ashley Simpson and Avril Lavigne and girls like that were wearing skirts over their jeans.
Yeah, definitely not a strong fashion period at the time.
No, also my first day of 6th grade, I wore a tie because Avril Lavigne wore ties.
I think I did see Lindsay Lohan talking about she wanted her hair specifically like that because to be like Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, that was the fucking moment. I wanted my hair done like that so bad. My mom said no. I wanted a studded belt. My mom said no. Like, I wanted to be badass. I would make my mom take me to PacSun and Hot Topic. And she was like, why don't you want to wear Abercrombie? And I was like, it's not a phase, Mom.
In retrospect, she had your best interests.
Yeah, and it was a phase. And very shortly thereafter, I did want to shop at Abercrombie. And then I worked at Abercrombie for 6 years.
Meanwhile, I still dressed the same way I did in middle school. It wasn't a phase for me, motherfucker.
No, it was.
I had poor
definitely not.
fashion then. I have poor fashion now.
Honestly, same.
What else do I have here? I don't feel like I wrote down that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little dollop of whipped cream on the end of your day.
I
This
will
movie.
also say one thing Giselle said that I did very much agree with. Chad Michael Murray has a very good dumb face.
Yeah. Chad Michael Murray, never been attracted to him.
Well, me either, but I get the appeal. I get why girls were at the time.
Oh, I mean, he just
He
didn't
was
really
like-
do it.
Gab, he was like Ashley Simpson for young girls at the time.
I guess.
He was the
I don't
male
know.
Ashley Simpson.
I don't know. I think the male Ashley Simpson was Ryan Cabrera.
I don't know.
Think
who that
about it.
is.
Damn.
I'm so sorry. Your reference
Okay.
is lost on me.
It's okay. He was a singer. He was her boyfriend, and he had one song out, like one popular song. It was "On the Way Down, I Saw You, and it saved me from myself.
Gab, don't
and I
try.
won't forget the way
'Cause I won't
you
know it.
love me."
We've already established that by like 12 years old, I was like, the Rolling Stones and the Kinks are where it's at. What are you kids listening to?
That is true. So sad. So sad.
Sting and the Police. They're way better than Ashley Simpson.
Sting and the Police.
I was right, but I seemed very uncool at the time,
Yeah, which was the style at the time.
which was the style at the time.
Yeah, sad.
Also, I do like at the very end, Jake says, I've been thinking about that kiss to Anna, who Tess in Anna's body kissed Jake. So Anna's like, remind me how I did it. And Jake says, in front of your mom, and they kiss. And my only thought is, That is definitely Jake's kink now. He can only kiss Anna in front of her mom.
Oh God, gross.
Jake is fucked up from this day.
Yeah,
This was
he'll
a
never be
freakier
the
Friday
same.
for Jake than for anyone.
True. He's the real victim here.
Yeah.
I do love the grandpa, and we haven't talked about the grandpa yet. He, I think, does a really, really great job. I love his like earthquake, and there's a line it's a very quick line where he runs out the door, and Ryan goes, "Grandpa, that's not our car."
Yeah, he's a great actor. He was an actor who worked for decades. Gould, I want to say. I can't remember.
Gold.
Yes, he's a pretzel. I will say he does look very weird without a mustache, because that is a guy whose face clearly is meant for a mustache. It looked like he had to shave his mustache before every take because his lip is just crying for a mustache.
It's so true. And there were a couple of times where I was like, oh, didn't he have a mustache last time he was on?
Right?
Yeah.
It feels like if you pause the movie at the right time, it's like, there it is. There's the mustache.
Yeah. It's like, wait a second. He had a mustache a couple minutes ago.
Harold Gould. That's his name.
Harold Gould.
He and the little brother Harry are great, and they're very good together. And there's a great moment at the end where they almost Freaky Friday and they get tackled.
Yeah, yeah. Which again, the tackling is a great callback.
Oh, Gab, if you pause it as they're getting tackled, because obviously they can't tackle a child, there's like a very clear shot you can see of a very adult man with his sleeves rolled up and a tiny tie, who's clearly supposed to be Harry, and he gets tackled, and it just makes it so much better for me that it's like, you can totally catch it.
Wow, I gotta go back to that scene for Dina Lohan and for the tackle, because I missed
that
both
one
of those.
scene is worth rewatching.
That's great.
I'm telling you, if you're on YouTube and you use the little arrows on the keyboard next to the M key, you can go frame by frame.
Oh, that's nice.
Fun fact for you.
Yeah, thank you. Next to the M, the little the Pac-Man guys?
The less than greater than signs.
Wow. Do I have to hit shift?
No.
Huh. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
No shift.
Learn something new every day. Wow.
All right. Since I already gave a fun fact, should I just get to the facts?
Please.
I want the truth!
Face the facts, ducks.
Facts have no place with an organized religion.
Let's start with our ratings like we usually do. IMDb gives this a 6.3 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, a pretty big discrepancy here. The tomato meter gives it 88%, average rating of 7.7 out of 10, 138 fresh reviews, 19 rotten. The audience score is 57%, with an average score of 3.4 out of 5. The movie had a budget of $20 million. It grossed $161 million.
Nice.
The critics' consensus: Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan charm, and Mark Waters nicely pitched in Disney's second remake of the 1976 hit. Let's see what our critics said. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars. He said, Freaky Friday delivers scenes we can anticipate, but with more charm and wit than we expect. Ed Park from The Village Voice: blame freaky screenwriters Heather Hatch and Leslie Dixon for the Yellow Peril fantasies, and instead curl up with Mary Rogers' novel and its sequel, A Billion for Boris, which remains eminently enjoyable today.
All right, relax, Mr. Literacy.
Seems a bit douchey.
Yeah.
Kimberly Jones from the Austin Chronicle: there's enough intelligence and wit here to sustain your interest, especially when Curtis and Lohan are in peak form. And I think we had this guy once before, and I still don't know how to say this last name, so I'm going to just go with the ridiculous way. Stephen D. Grade Anus from Decent Films: stories about role reversals are usually about teaching both sides a lesson in humility and appreciation. Here, all the lessons are for frumpy adults who've forgotten about rock and roll. Which I totally feel like I feel like they clearly both learned something in this movie.
Yeah, I disagree. I think they both learn equally about one another.
Yeah, they both understand each other better by the end.
Yeah.
The movie was directed by Mark Waters, who also directed He's All That, Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, and Mean Girls. It's based on the novel by Mary Rogers, written by Heather Hatch and Leslie Dixon, who also wrote What to Expect When You're Expecting, Limitless, and Mrs. Doubtfire. It stars Lindsay Lohan as Anna, who you may know from Mean Girls, The Parent Trap, and of course Georgia Rule, Don't Hit Her with Fish. Jamie Lee Curtis as Tess Coleman, who you may know from Halloween, True Lies, and Trading Places. Mark Harmon as Tess's fiancé Ryan, who you definitely know from being in 435 episodes of NCIS.
Oh, yeah.
And Chad,
Also, sorry, real quick. How much was Ryan's character, that character of Ryan, how much was he giving Joe Biden?
What?
He was giving Joe Biden.
I did not think that at all, but I now have to rewatch it just thinking of him as Joe Biden.
Yeah, like young Joe Biden. And the way, especially the way he's like trying to make everybody happy and be like politically correct. Like it's a little political in the delivery of the character. And it was just like the gray hair, and it was just like it was Joe Biden.
I just want to see him talking to Anna now and be like, listen here, Jack, you want to go to your audition? Go to your audition. It's cool. We can do this however you want to do it.
Here's the deal, Anna.
He is so much like less fun to do an impression of than if Ryan was supposed to be like Trump, and he was like, people are saying that if you went to the audition, it'd be the worst thing to ever happen.
It's so true. It's so true. It's really quite boring to have a president that's hard to mock, but here we are.
Yeah. And lastly, we have Chad Michael Murray as Jake, who you may know from One Tree Hill, A Cinderella Story, and House of Wax.
House of Wax. Good one. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the first thing I saw with Chad Michael Murray.
Oh, no, not me.
Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actress.
Good.
Lindsay Lohan won an MTV Movie Award for Breakthrough Female Performance.
Oh, breaking through what and to whom? She was well established by this point.
Well, she was even more established.
Yeah.
She also won a Teen Choice Award for Choice Movie Hissy Fit.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Sometimes those MTV movie categories are like, this movie had a good hissy fit, so we're going to award it Best Hissy Fit, and there's like no other candidates.
I so wish I'd written it down now, because there was actually several other candidates.
Damn it. That's all right.
I have, it's not worth going and looking for, but I was shocked at how many. Gab, she beat out like 8 other things for this. I was like, what the fuck? Some fun facts. Kelly Osbourne originally auditioned as Anna and was offered the part, but decided to back out. Later, she said people told her it was the biggest mistake she'd ever made due to the success of the movie. You know what? This is one of those IMDb ones that I'm like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Producer Andrew Gunn said he initially hoped Jodie Foster, who played the daughter in the original, would be game to play the mother in the remake. Jodie Foster declined because of concerns that the casting stunt would overshadow the movie's overall merit.
Oh, that's really nice, Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster's also like, I don't need to work ever again.
Jodie Foster was like, I'm doing Oscar shit, okay?
Yeah, like
you
I'm
seen
good.
Silence of the Lambs, bitch?
Yeah, I don't need to come back here and reprise this role for your fucking little snotty kids.
Does the name Michelle Trachtenberg mean anything to you, Gab?
Oh, you know it does. That's my girl.
She was cast as Anna, but had to back out due to her contractual obligation to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Coincidentally, this is the second movie she turned down that Lindsay Lohan won the lead role. The first, do you know? You look like you want to speak.
I was going to say something dumb that was the wrong answer, but now I just want to guess since I've already interrupted you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it would have been before this. I'm going to give me 2 guesses.
Sure.
Is it before this? Yeah, because you said this was the second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to say The Parent Trap.
It is The Parent Trap.
Yes, motherfucker, let's go.
It felt like the very obvious thing that it would be, but yes.
Damn it.
Michelle Trachtenberg, maybe she was too busy with Harriet the Spy at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, which was my favorite movie on my list.
Annette Bening was originally slated to play Tess. She backed out before filming and was replaced by Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis only had 6 days to prepare for the role after Annette Bening dropped out.
Wow, that's really impressive.
I think that makes it more impressive.
Annette Bening, where do I know her from?
You definitely know her from something. The biggest thing I can think of that she recently was in was Captain Marvel. The Kids Are All Right.
I definitely don't know about that. Oh, you know what movie? The Kids Are All Right. That's what I know her from.
Hey,
that movie sucked.
Oh, okay. I don't remember it well enough to know either way. Okay. There was an episode of Lizzie McGuire, Those Freaky McGuires. It's considered to be a 4th version of Mary Rogers' story, Freaky Friday. Supposedly, Lizzie McGuire star Hilary Duff and Lindsay Lohan had a rivalry during this period, which we've, of course, discussed during our 50th episode.
Yes.
And apparently, Hilary Duff lost out on this role and demanded that Lizzie McGuire get Freaky for one installment.
And I don't recall that episode, but I'm proud of her. You know, Hilary Duff can be a doormat sometimes, and I like to hear when she stands up for herself.
Do you know Hilary Duff intimately, that you know this about her?
No, I just am, you know.
I will say I did back when I worked for MLB. We used to work in Chelsea Market. And I remember there was one day where there was like a food tasting thing downstairs, and you had to pay to get into Chelsea Market for the food tasting thing. But if you worked there, they didn't know whether you paid or not. So I remember I went downstairs and I'm grabbing these little like pieces of food. I'm like, oh, yes, please. And I remember I saw Haley Duff was there because she had something on like the Food Network, and I was like, well, that's weird, but I have to go back to editing a highlight. I was like, okay.
That's so funny. Chelsea Market. Yeah, they did it was like they would do like restaurant week stuff there.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. Haley Duff, yeah. Sorry, of course, of Napoleon Dynamite fame.
And nothing else, I feel like, but yes.
She had a song with Hilary Duff. They did it for a movie. I don't remember what movie it was. It might have been the Lizzie McGuire movie, but it was a cover of Our Lips Are Sealed, which, by the way, that song is bad, the original version. The only thing that could be worse is those two girls, neither of whom can really sing, singing it.
Oof. Harsh. Take that, Duffs.
Yeah, sorry. Bad.
Author Mary Rogers considers this the best adaptation of her book, calling it the first time the character seemed real despite the unreal goings-on, and plucky instead of whiny.
I agree.
I already told you about Dina Lohan popping up, so the last thing I have here, as announced in May 2023, a sequel is in the works at Disney, with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan expected to reprise their roles.
So good. I literally can't wait. That's so good.
Yeah, would you be like excited to go see the sequel to this? Do you think it would be like good?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I would definitely have to see a trailer to gear whether or not I'd be excited for this.
No, I'd be way excited for this. Let's go.
Also, is it the two of them switching again, or do you think it's Anna and her kid and Tess is just there to like remember it?
I think it would be, I hope it's them, because I wouldn't want Jamie Lee Curtis to have a small role. I could also see Jamie Lee Curtis's character like becoming like kind of a wild child grandma, and Anna having grown up and now being like kind of like what we were talking about, like turning into her mother, and like it being reversed where Lindsay Lohan gets to play the wild child and Jamie Lee Curtis has to like be the adult, you know?
Interesting, where they're sort of more playing the original versions of their characters from this movie.
Yeah.
In attitude, I guess.
Yeah.
I could see it. We'll see. You know what? Hopefully that's coming out either next year or the year after, because I don't imagine it's going to take a lot of like CGI post-production. You know, you're not going crazy with Freaky Friday sequel.
Right.
I'll be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the facts I got.
Well, then it's mail time.
Mail time? When you control the mail, you control information.
Mom asked me to ask you if there's any mail for us here by mistake.
What?
Wow, I never introduced mail time. This is new.
I know. I feel like it's throwing you off.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it'll end quickly because we just have one email from Scotty.
Read it to me.
The subject, JLA versus Predator. Hey, Dylan and Gab. This email is a bit shorter than the ones I normally send whenever I send emails because I'm only addressing something Dylan asked about regarding Justice League versus Predator. Yes, the meta predators were predators who had the powers of members of the Justice League of America, such as Superman and the Flash. Here's the visual aid of them. There were predator versions of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman, Atom, and Plastic Man. I just gotta say the cover art for the crossover was great, which is a collaboration between DC and Dark Horse. It also made me realize Dark Horse published the Alien vs. Predator comics, which inspired the movies, not Wildstorm. Which doesn't surprise me because half of Dark Horse's catalog is licensed comics like Alien, Predator, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, and the other half is creator-owned comics like Hellboy, The Mask, R.I.P.D., and 300. That's all, folks, and in case I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Scotty. And wait, you might not find this that cool, Gab, but I actually do think that's pretty cool looking.
Yeah. Listen, I have a question.
Yes.
Plastic Man?
You've never heard of Plastic Man?
We couldn't come up with anything more original than Plastic Man?
He's a stretchy guy. He's like Mr. Fantastic or Elongated Man, which also not a great stretchy guy name.
Elongated Man? Get
Yes,
the
these are
fuck
real superheroes.
out of here. No, I refuse. I want nothing to do with this. So hold on a second. So Plastic Man. So you mean to tell me Plastic Man is Elastic Man? Because when I think of plastic, I think of hard and immobile.
Yeah, no, he is very stretchy. And he can also
But
like
that's not
shapeshift
plastic.
into different objects. Plastic can be molded into many objects, can it not?
Yeah, but what is liquid? What is plastic in its liquid form?
Plastic.
No.
I don't know. He's never technically liquid. He's just stretchy solid.
You know what I've gotten really into lately? Chat GPT. Have you used it?
Yeah, you're opting out of this conversation. That you've taken a hard left away from Plastic Man. Okay, tell me about ChatGPT.
It's miraculous.
I have a friend
Hold
who's
on.
obsessed with ChatGPT. He's like, you should use it for everything.
Hold on. I'm about to use it for something. So I discovered ChatGPT when I wanted to quit my job, and I needed somebody to help me write a resignation letter that was just bitchy enough. And I needed it to include like very specific details about why I was quitting and how terrible this place was and all the things they did to me, but make it professional. So I told ChatGPT, I was like, listen, write me a letter saying da 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 da, and this person did that, and blah blah blah, and it came back with the most amazing professional letter. And ever since then, I've just been using it for everything. So hold on, I'm gonna tell it, write me a letter to my cousin Dylan, telling him that Plastic Man is a stupid name for a superhero.
Oh, okay.
Especially because plastic is not elastic and Plastic Man is stretchy. Make the tone condescending and rude.
I don't need this. Okay. I don't need to hear you. You didn't need to read out loud when you were telling it.
Hold on. My Chat GPT app is not working for some reason. So let me do it on Chat GPT.
Is Chat GPT at capacity right now?
Is that possible?
I don't know, because I was going to go and try and find a witty response from Chat GPT.
It is at capacity. How could it possibly be at capacity?
I don't know. This is how the machines destroy themselves. This is how we beat Skynet.
Wow. So we're all over here afraid of the machines. The machines can't handle a couple of innocent questions with some requests for a couple of letters.
Yeah, the machine is just as surprised as you by like, what the fuck is Plastic Man?
Wow. That is so upsetting.
All right. I should cut most of this, shouldn't I?
No, I think it's good. Listen, the problem
Let's
is
just both say,
ChatGPT.
thanks for this letter, Scotty. And I'll just cut it to that.
Okay. Ready? Count us in.
1, 2, 3. Thanks for this letter,
Scotty. Oh, we did it.
No, now I have to leave it, I feel like.
Yeah, fuck it.
All right.
Do or do not. There is no try.
The guilty will be punished.
Sentence is death.
This is your pick. You give me your verdict first.
Yeah, I love this movie. I don't think it is like going in the history books as one of the best films of all time, but I do think it is an easy watch at a breezy 90 minutes. It is funny. There are moments that truly make you laugh out loud. It's fun for the whole family. It's wholesome, except for the Asian voodoo part. And I think it is just a delight. I think Lindsay Lohan is great. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is wonderful. The whole cast is good. I mean, what else is there to say? I think it's a movie to watch before you die.
Now, Gab, have I been playing you this whole time and I'm about to tell you this movie sucks?
I don't think you are. I don't think this movie sucks. I don't think there's a way that you can say this movie sucks. I think it's a good movie.
I gotta tell you, The Strange Asian Voodoo is pretty bad. I do think that really holds up poorly. Besides that, there is nothing that does not, to me, work about that doesn't hold up this movie from working. I think that this movie is a delightful watch. Again, besides the occasional segments.
Yeah. Listen. We
voodoo.
don't like racism. Okay, we're anti-racism on this podcast.
It does not,
I think they get the point.
Those parts don't hold up well, but everything else works, and it works pretty damn seamlessly. And you know what?
I'm
What, you
sorry. I
look
have
like you
one
wanna
more
say
thing to
something.
say. I'm
Go
so
on.
sorry. I'm so sorry. There's a shot, and I think you're going to be proud of me for noticing this. When they change bodies, when the clock strikes midnight, that goes from Jamie Lee Curtis in her bed, goes from sleeping peacefully to like sleeping like a teenager. And then the camera pans through it like sweeps through the house and goes all the way to Lindsay Lohan's room. And then when we get there, she rolls over from being like a teenage mess to sleeping like an angel. And I just think it's a good shot.
That,
Thank
and
you.
you have the cool moment where Lindsay Lohan is getting up and they have the camera attached to her.
Yeah.
Both of
I
those
just
were
think,
cool.
yeah, they're good. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I think it's a movie to watch before you die. It's very sweet.
Yes.
It works. It just works. And you know what? It's like a piece of candy. You know what I mean? It's not nutritionally. Is it going to do anything for you afterwards? No, not really. But you're going to have very fun while you're ingesting the movie.
100%. Now, let me ask you this. When you turned it on, were you like, oh, this is going to be it, not make it? Or were you like, oh, this could be a winner?
You know what? I didn't really go into it one way or another too much. I think Giselle went into it being like, oh, I think you're going to like it. And I went into it like, I remember thinking it was solid as a kid, but am I going to really like it?
Yeah.
I think I'm surprised by how many actors are in it that I do like even today. In fact, it even made me sad to see Willie Garson because I was so sad that he's passed since, but he was just a delightful presence in everything he showed up in.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know what? If you have Disney Plus, go watch Freaky Friday. It's fun.
It's good. It's good. It's great. Dylan, it's been a pleasure. Tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, first, I'm just gonna say we have a nice little streak going here. We got 2 going. So
no, we don't. Oh, we do. You're right. We do.
So we gotta keep going.
Oh, I started this episode acting like our last episode was a guest.
It was
my
not.
apologies.
You just shamefully forgot about my previous pick, but that's okay.
Yeah.
If you want to find us, you can look in the description below and see our link tree to anywhere you want to watch us. If you're watching us on YouTube and you're saying, I really prefer Apple Podcasts, well, guess what? We're there too, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of Joe Exotic. Guess what, motherfucker? If you're thinking I'm never going to financially recover from this, well, guess what? The podcast is free. What's the problem? What's the holdup? I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your deal?
And if you're thinking, fuck Carol Baskin.
If you have a plan to murder Carol Baskin, send a letter to. No, but if you want to, you can also reach out to us. If you have a suggestion for a movie that we should watch, you can send us an email at movies2watchbeforeyouDie@gmail.com, or you can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/movies2watch. And we are also part of the Hall of Pods network. So there's a link tree below for them and for our podcasting friends.
Yeah. So do all of those things and let us know what you think about Freaky Friday. And God bless America.
Okay. Very patriotic ending there. And come back next week when we have another guest, which I know Gab is very enthused about. From the Jump on the Batwagon podcast, the other host, Brian McNeely, who also did the artwork for our podcast.
Did I know about this?
You did. I brought it up to you.
Okay, cool. I'm excited. I didn't know if you were like, Gab is very excited about it. I didn't know if you were springing this on me.
No, I was just thinking because you earlier were like, oh, so many guests.
Oh,
So
yeah.
This is the end of our streak of guests for a bit.
Whew, all right, cool. Yeah. Well, excited. What movie are we watching?
We're actually doing, and this is going to be weird, a TV show that the entirety of which is a length of a movie, Over the Garden Wall, I believe it's called.
I have to say, this is going to be tough for me.
Why is this going to be tough for you?
Because I feel like every time an episode ends, I'm going to be like, well, fuck it. I need a break from this garbage.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully you don't feel that way because I think the episodes are only like 10 minutes each.
And there's that many of them? There's 90 episodes?
Gab, that would be 900 minutes.
Nope, sorry. Okay.
I think there's like 10 episodes.
Okay. Oh,
it's like the same length as Freaky Friday, Gab.
Like there's 900. It's 7:58 p.m. 2 days after daylight savings time. So it's really 8:58 p.m. and it is past my bedtime. So I'm unwell.
Gab has exposed herself as an old. We should all shame her.
Yes,
thank you so much for listening. Come back next week when we have our guest Brian McNeely. And if you want to, you can find all of our episodes at any one of the podcast sources you like in the link tree below. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
It just makes me feel really depressed.
And how do you feel about that?
depressed.
Then I got already what I did.
And how do you feel about that?
They don't like the people working on here.